Welcome to today's explainer. Okay, I want you to imagine two completely different investors. One is starting their financial journey with just $500, and let's be real, they're probably checking their stock app like 40 times a day. The other, a literal financial titan controlling over $340 million. Today, we're tracking the fascinating evolution of an investor as they level up from that first $500 all the way up to massive market-moving wealth. We'll see exactly how the rules of the game completely flip as your portfolio grows.
Okay, let's dive into this, because it's an absolutely incredible contrast. On one side, we've got our $500 beginner, cautiously buying their very first fractional shares. And on the other side, the $340 million titan, wielding massive market influence. Both are buying stocks, right? Both want to grow their wealth. But the strategies, the mindset, and the actual mechanics of how they invest, they couldn't be more fundamentally different.
So, let's step up to the starting line. Section 1, the first 500. This is level 1, the beginner.
At level 1, you have $500. And let's be totally honest here. At this level, every single dollar matters immensely. You're looking at the market, you see these popular, high-performing companies, Apple, Tesla, or Nvidia, and you want in. But the reality is, with only $500, buying full shares of these giants is often literally impossible. That means you're relying on fractional shares, and proper diversification, well, it's incredibly difficult. One bad trade on a volatile stock can wipe out a huge chunk of your whole portfolio. The margin for error is basically zero.
The biggest hurdle right now actually isn't making money. It's learning the ropes. It's figuring out how to read basic charts. It's learning how to control your emotions when a stock drops 2%. And most importantly, it's avoiding the trap almost every single beginner falls into, trying to get rich overnight. You really just have to survive this phase so you can play the long game. As your mindset shifts and you survive that initial learning curve, we enter phase 2. Section 2, building real strategies. Level 2, the learner.
Hitting the $5,000 mark is a massive psychological milestone. You finally have enough capital to stop guessing, stop treating the market like a casino, and start building a real structured portfolio. You can actually afford to spread your money around and see how different sectors behave.
A classic level 2 portfolio allocation creates a really solid foundation, a mix of technology stocks, broad market ETFs, and reliable dividend stocks. This allocation is where you truly learn risk management. You aren't just betting on one horse anymore. You're realizing that the stock market isn't a lottery ticket. Actually, it's a meticulously designed wealth-building machine. But, and this is key, only for those who stay patient.
And as that patience pays off, we step up to level 3, the serious investor, sitting on a $50,000 portfolio. At this level, everything changes. The numbers aren't just digits on a screen anymore. The gains, and more importantly the losses, suddenly feel very real and carry serious emotional weight.
Think about it. If your portfolio swings by 10% when you only have $500, you lose $50. Annoying? Sure, but fine. But a 10% swing on $50,000? That is $5,000. For many people, a 10% loss at this stage means watching months of hard-earned salary just vanish in a few days. This heavy emotional weight forces unparalleled discipline. It pushes you to start deeply analyzing company earnings, reading financial reports, and really closely following market trends. So, the crucial point is this massive mindset pivot. As the old adage goes, making money is important, but keeping money is even more important. The serious investor realizes that defense is just as critical as offense. Protecting your capital becomes the foundational rule of absolutely every single trade you make from here on out. Which leads us directly into our next tier. Section 3, professional wealth preservation. Welcome to level 4, the six-figure territory.
Hitting the $500,000 mark means your approach becomes entirely professional. You might even start working with financial advisors at this point. Why? Well, because you've built significant, life-changing wealth, and a major market crash could wipe out years of hard-earned gains. You have completely shifted away from chasing the next viral meme stock. The goal now is protecting what you've built.
And this brilliantly illustrates the solution to that risk: deeper diversification. We aren't just talking about different stocks anymore. We are talking about entirely different asset classes: stocks, ETFs, bonds, and real estate. Spreading $500,000 across these slices ensures that if one sector of the economy takes a massive hit, your overall wealth is insulated. Preserving wealth is now officially just as vital as growing it.
But what happens when preservation and growth compound over time? We step into the aspirational tiers. Section 4, the millionaire mindset, covering levels 5 and 6.
Here we are at level 5, the $5 million portfolio. The math here is just staggering. Think about it. A relatively modest, conservative 8% return on $5 million generates hundreds of thousands of dollars in pure income annually. At this level, your money works harder than you ever could physically work.
And the perks are substantial. This level unlocks exclusive access to opportunities most people don't even know exist. We're talking private investments, elite hedge funds, exclusive behind-closed-doors deals, and the backing of professional research teams. Your investing is now treated exactly like a business. You aren't looking at daily charts anymore. You are thinking in decades, focusing on how to protect and multiply wealth for generations to come.
From there, we leap to level 6, the elite investor, sitting on $50 million. At this tier, you aren't just riding the waves of the market. You're actually capable of making waves. Individual trades at this level are so large, they can literally move stock prices. You can't just click buy on your phone. Execution requires careful planning, so a massive order doesn't negatively affect the market itself.
At this stage, money is no longer just an asset, it's a system. A $50 million portfolio is a massive, complex machine managed by dedicated teams of analysts, lawyers, and financial experts. It contains vast holdings like commercial real estate, private companies, and venture capital. You are effectively the CEO of your own private wealth ecosystem.
Which brings us to the final boss level of this explainer. Section 5, Titans of the Market. Level 7, the Giant.
Welcome to the $340 million Titan. We're talking hedge fund managers, institutional investment firms, and ultra-high net worth individuals. At this monumental level, you don't just buy shares in a company, you buy significant portions of the company itself. You don't just read about the CEO, you meet directly with CEOs to influence corporate decisions. You're playing a completely different game of influence, strategy, and preservation.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer scale of the math. Let's compare the impact of a single 1% market fluctuation. For our $500 beginner, a 1% move is a $5 change. But for our $340 million Titan, that exact same 1% move represents a $3.4 million swing. A tiny blip on the radar equals more money than many people earn in an entire lifetime. Every decision is backed by immense data, because the stakes are just enormous.
But hey, before we get too lost in the clouds with the Titans, let's bring it back down to earth. Section 6, the path to millions. The fascinating thing is that the Titan and the beginner started in the exact same place, with a simple decision to invest. The difference isn't magic, and it certainly isn't luck. It's the relentless application of 4 steps: time, discipline, patience, and staying invested when others give up. It is the compounding power of those actions over years and decades.
Every single giant portfolio in the world was once a tiny portfolio. Every legendary, market-moving investor was once a nervous beginner staring at their very first chart. The journey to millions doesn't start with millions. It starts with the first dollar invested. So taking everything we've looked at in this explainer today, I want to leave you with this provocative thought. The journey starts with a single dollar. Where will yours begin?